the AFLW is back, and round one definitely didn't disappoint at all. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the most hardcore watcher of the AFL. I try and, or the AFLW, I should say, and I try and watch a few games each year. I always try and find more, but there's such a short season, it's always a bit more difficult, I think, to catch all the games, just because it's almost like by the time you get into it, the season feels like it's wrapping up. I watch as many Crows games, especially as I can, but I always try and watch the other games and support it. But the biggest thing I took away from round one, where I was able to watch a fair few of the games, was the year-on-year improvement of this league is incredible. Just every year you watch it, they're just better and better and better, and it's unreal. And just it's not surprising because to be expected. I think they're heading in. This is season 8, I think, of the AFLW, and they're now at the point where the draftees that are coming in were early teens or in early high school and would have been playing club football, but wouldn't have had anywhere they could go after that. I mean, a lot of those junior clubs get to an age group where girls aren't able to play anymore. It's just the guys that can play, and so where they previously would have had to stop, they didn't have anything that they were then aiming for, whereas now the draftees coming in just have that goal, and you can just see their quality. I mean, Sinead Goody in the Crows Port showdown game she came in for Port, and you could just tell she had that quality straight away. And I think that'll be more what you see more and more each year, is those draftees that have now had the opportunity to really have the goal of playing in the AFLW and striving for it, because that's the real make or break years for professional sportsmen and athletes, is that kind of 10, 11 to 16, 17 age. They're the years when if you really put in the hard work, then that's when you'll have the chance to make it. And girls used to not be able to have the goal of making the W, or not have a league they could have the goal of joining, and so they would lose out on those years. But the new draftees can drive for that. They know what they're working towards during those years and really focus on it. And the biggest thing I've noticed as well is just the fitness feels like the biggest difference in terms of the separating the top teams from the bottom teams. It's just the teams that have those players that've got the speed to just run and carry with the ball and get it upfield, especially in a league that's still developing, and so they don't kick it as far yet, and the ball skills are still getting there, which is to be expected. But like I said, improve year on year, and that fitness ability just really separates the top teams, and just being able to, you'll break defenses open when you've got that run and carry. And I think that's what I noticed in the Crows game, and you saw it when I was watching games last year for the Lions and the Roos. They could really do it, and I thought Sydney as well had that real drive and carry. And it's amazing to me. If you're not watching the AFLW, you're missing out. Just because the constant development and the genuine care the players have for the game and the clubs, and you can just tell that none of the players in the AFLW take the opportunity they've got for granted. I mean, they all know how hard they had to work to get that opportunity, and they deserve it, but you can tell none of them take it for granted because they know what it's like to not have it. Whereas you very quickly see in the men's competition where they just know they've always known it's an option. It always has been, always will be. There's a lot of ego that comes with that, whereas I don't think you see that as often in the AFLW game. And so it's just great to see that genuine care they have. There was a bit of fight and scuffle, was a bit of biff this round as well, which is just it happened in the Lions Roos game, in the Sydney Collingwood game. You saw it. There was a bit going on in the showdown as well. It was just all over the place, and it was great to see just no one backing down. They were up for it. It was awesome. And so I thoroughly enjoy watching the AFLW, and it's also a case of just sometimes it's good to take some and go, you're genuinely watching history when you're watching AFLW, because when you think in 2 or 3 decades time, the league will be playing at the big grounds, and they'll be playing at the Adelaide Oval, the Gabba, the G, the SCG, all those Optus. They'll be playing at those grounds and it'll just feel normal. But to be able to go back and when you're older and look back and go, I remember being able to say you supported it from the start, I think is really nice. And like, I've got a baby niece, and when I see her, I go, knowing that she could have the goal of playing AFL, and by supporting the AFLW now, I'm also supporting her potentially. And so those things, just being able to acknowledge that it's genuine history and it's great to see. And I think the more people that can get around it, the better, because it's genuinely amazing. It's genuinely amazing to see, because the league's awesome. And I think more people are starting to realize it, but I think we can definitely do a better job in growing it. And I think one thing they could definitely do as well to really help growing is, I think the season only being 11 games, it's just too short. Just teams' seasons can be derailed too quickly by minor injuries. Like if someone gets a 3 or 4 week injury, that would hurt a team in the men's competition. You'd be like, oh, that sucks, but it wouldn't ruin their season. Whereas in the AFL, I mean, if Richmond lost Conti for 4 games, I mean, their season's done basically. I mean, she's the best player in the comp, and just to have her down, like their season will be over, even though it might be a pulled hamstring and something so minor. So I think they definitely need to grow it out. I understand why they don't. I think it's something it's just one of those revenue things. They just need to keep building, and it will eventually get there. But 11 games, just too short of a season as well. I don't think it's a fair reflection on the best teams. I think you should at least have to play every team once as well, just to be, for me, the best competition. One of the things I love about the Premier League is the fact you play every team twice. It's even, you're home and away. You know, come the end of that season, these are the best teams. And I think with finals and playoffs, I think you can get away from that a little bit. But to me, 11 games is way too short, and they need to change that. And hopefully next season they do. But getting to the showdown specifically was great to see how competitive it was. And I find it funny watching the women's showdown, because I don't have that same like hatred for Port that I do in the men's competition as a fan. Like I don't like have that whole despise them, like least like team in all sports. And I think it's just down to the fact that I don't want to despise them, because I want the league to succeed. So I want the team to succeed. It's one of those things, like I want them to play really well. I do still want Port to, like, I want Port to get the wooden spoon every year, but I want them to still at least play better, if that makes sense. It's just, I find it really interesting, just like that different thought process, because I know the men's game's not going anywhere and it's doing really well. I know that me hating on the Port fans and the Port fans hating on the Crows fans, like I know that won't impact the sport or the league at all. Whereas in the AFLW, because it's so new, you want to make sure it's getting all the support it can, and the players are getting the support they should. And so I find it really interesting, but it was still great to see the Crows get the win. Hopefully they can go all the way this year. I'm looking forward to watching their game this weekend as well, and it's really exciting. But yeah, if you're not watching the AFLW, you've got to make sure you check it out. It's unbelievable and definitely worth getting around it. If you're a fan of sports, you should definitely be tuning in, and never know, you might grow to love it a bit more and appreciate it for just the improvement and the history that's being made in front of you. Thanks for listening. This has been a clip from my full podcast, the Armchair Athlete podcast. So please make sure you go check out that full video. I'll link it somewhere here, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stick around and let me know your thoughts on the topic in the comments below, and any suggestions you've got for the channel and the videos moving forward. But I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.